So there was one organization that came in and said, we want to build this thing that's going to help train people. It's going to be for a specific group of people, and it's a very complex subject matter, and we want a better experience for training people. And I said, okay, I know nothing about this area, but the way that we work together now is changing. So in this particular instance, I did the initial call, and then I said, send me everything. I want presentations, documents. I want you, subject matter expert, to dictate into a Word document everything about this project. I want, like, snow me under with information. I take all that, and then I start using AI, Claude Code in this example, to really understand what's going on, do internet research, like figure out what's happening. And then in like 10 days delivered it was for them as a proof of concept, but like a fully functional training application around this. So one meeting, one dump of information, using AI to get understanding, to build a solution, deliver it days later, and their minds are blown. Another, project would be, hey, we have this process. The way that it works is we get some information from Salesforce. It comes to this team of 3, then goes and does a bunch of internet research, and they do this and this and this and this. Then they put together a CSV file, and that CSV file gets back uploaded to Salesforce. How long does that take? Well, it takes an hour and a half to do each one. Okay, let's build a solution where automatically the information from Salesforce gets sent to an AI agent. That AI agent goes out and does research with a very detailed prompt, brings back what we need, gives it to another agent to structure it into a certain format, send that back to our application, use the deterministic code to pull out what we want and create the CSV file the way we want it. So within a minute to 3 minutes, instead of an hour and a half, they have that piece of information. So that's like another point project, that type of stuff.
So I'm thinking, like, if I go into a regional grocery store,
yeah,
right? They've got 400 employees, and they're saying, we do these slip and fall trainings with our new hire. It's all done on paper. They have to sign it. We've got a training coordinator that manages it. Here's all the documents in a PDF. Make us an app for this, right? So you use Claude Code or whatever to upload all the PDFs, build a little interface, and it can all be done digitally on a web app, and they can sign it digitally. Is that kind of like could that be a project?
Yeah, maybe. I'd have to dig into it more. That's like kind of a traditional software build that you would maybe just be able to accelerate because you're using AI to do it faster. I think if to use a regional grocery store, the questions I'd be asking are like, what does your marketing department do? I'm a big fan of getting a Miro board or a Lucid, whatever you use, and then right with the client being like, okay, this box is X. Tell me what happens next. That goes over here and does this, and that goes over here. So kind of my approach is looking more for the workflow first than like the product opportunity, the app opportunity. So I don't know if that.
Yeah. What does the sales process look like, or the discovery call process look like? What kind of tips or tactics do you use to get them closer to a yes?
A lot of times on these initial calls, I am, I'll do an intro, a little rapport building, whatever, and then I'll just, say, take me through your journey, your experience with AI. Where are you at? Are you a strong adopter? Are you scared about it? Whatever. And people generally get pretty verbose in that response. I like it. I play around with it sometime. My kids showed me this. So I try to get their feelings around AI first before I go to the next step. But the next step is always that workflow piece. So like, have you thought about anything where you think AI could help? It's this, or this. I try to never solution on those calls. So I think it's bad to midway through be like, what you could do is this. So just ask questions, get them talking. What happens if you fix this problem? It's classic sales stuff, right? Spin selling, like implication, like if you could fix that, what's going to happen? If you don't fix it, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff, classic sort of sales tactic. And then usually the process after that is to go back with several options. Like, here are 4 different ways to engage.
Yeah, I know that I'm not very good at selling. And I know that on a call like that, I would offer solutions in the moment, right? Like, well, you could do this. And I do that from a place of, I'm going to show you how smart I am, so you'll say yes. Why isn't that a good idea?
Well, first of all, you shut down the process. Like, as soon as you start solutioning, then the discovery is done. And you're looking for a lot of stuff. You want to find 3, 4, 5, 6 different use cases. And as soon as you start solutioning, then you get them. That's number one. Number 2 is you don't have all the information yet. You might offer something that is not doable, and now you just shot yourself.
You could do yourself more harm than good, right?
Yeah.
Like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yep, exactly. And it does come back to, there's an old chart when I was a financial advisor. It's like your classic X, Y axis, but it's a U shape, and it's effectiveness of selling over time. When you're young in the business and a rookie, you're very effective because you don't know anything, so what do you do?
That could be an advantage.
You ask questions.
Yeah.
You're like, tell me about, why is that important to you? And what if we did that? But then as we mature as salespeople, we start to think we know the answers to the questions.
Curse of knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. You become less effective. And the very best salespeople at the end know all the answers and still only ask questions.
And they're not even listening when They may even be asking questions just to ask questions, but they answer them like, I already know all this. I already know all this.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's about discovery. At that stage, it's about getting the prospect to discover the thing, not so much, you doing the discovery, because you can ask a couple questions. I'm not there yet in the maturity of this particular thing, but in other times I could ask 3 questions and know where to put you. But yeah, that initial call, and look, I have all the background and knowledge about sales. I know all the different, stuff, the takeaway close, the alternative close, like all the things. I hate it all. When it comes to this stuff, I'm literally asking the questions and not solutioning, but I'm not actually thinking this is going to kill the sale. I'm just thinking like, I want to help you.
Yeah.
And so I got to get all the information that I can get. And I think that they feel that.
If you could wave a magic wand, you had a $100,000 opportunity in front of you. You could pick the industry that you were going to pitch this opportunity to, right? Manufacturing, home services, startup, venture funded, whatever. What industry would you pick because they would be most likely to close? And like close in a shorter amount of time and pay you quicker, et cetera. What's the best industry?
Let me maybe answer the question in a different way. I would want the industry that I'm gonna be able to provide the most value to versus like close, because I think I could close a lot of them that wouldn't work. And I'll give you an example. If you're a company that has like a heavy PII, personal identifiable information burden in part of your core.
What does that mean?
You move around a lot of personal information, which social security numbers,
data integrity.
Well, yeah, it's not so much data integrity, but like just we're a data company, and we handle all this data, which includes emails and medical records and all that kind of stuff.
Like a fintech company or healthcare?
Healthcare would be that deal with sensitive information. Those are harder to work with because you're using AI and then you got to get things cleared and whatever. So the first thing would be like the perfect industry / company would be one that doesn't deal heavily in PII as part of their core product offering. Those that are forward-looking, they are interested in taking chances and AI, like curious.
Is there an industry better than others? Like an industry that tends to be more forward-thinking or?
I think you have all your traditional metrics, or not metrics, but like filters you would apply to technology. Companies like healthcare, fintech are going to be harder to work with a little bit because of the data sensitivity that they have. But every single company out there has this need for how do we take AI and operationalize it into the business. And so for me, it's not really about industry. It's about how ready that company is or that group is to take on these types of projects and this type of thinking.
I know we talked about headcount. What revenue size do you think is a good target for getting to a yes?
I think the need is so across the board. It's hard to, in my experience so far, I have not found a correlation between, if you're trying to make a business out of this, it's going to be easier to go with larger companies than it is like a bunch of, local business.
Hey, believe it or not, this is actually just a small segment of the full episode. If you want to watch the full episode of this, check out the link in the description.